Today, more than 44 million Americans have student loan debt. Take a look at the class of 2016. The average student who graduated from a four-year public university with their bachelor's degree left with $28,600 in loans, according to data from the National Center for Education Statistics. This heavy burden of debt can follow people around for decades and severely push back big life decisions, like buying a home or starting a family. In recent years, there's been a growing public backing to tackle this crisis and make higher education more affordable. Last year, a popular idea that now President Biden campaigned on was the promise of reducing existing student loan debt and drastically lowering the cost of college. Some of his current plans aim to make tuition free at public universities for families that earn less than $125,000 a year. Another proposal is expanding the role of community college by providing free tuition for the first 2 years of enrollment. While these ideas sound great, this type of progressive legislation will face an uphill battle in a closely divided Congress. So, with policies and promises still up in the air, how should current high school students and their parents prepare? In what ways can people save money? Well, one increasingly popular option is community college.
Many families are considering attending a 1-year or 2-year program at the junior college level, and the ability to get a great education at a very affordable cost, and then they could transfer to another institution with those credits, and they've saved significant dollars toward their educational budget. So it's something that is becoming more and more accepted, especially during the pandemic. A lot of students didn't feel comfortable traveling out of state, so they were looking at institutions closer to home. And you can get a great education at a 2-year community college and take those credits and apply them to any 4-year college.
That's James Lewis, the president of the National Society of High School Scholars, an academic honors society catering to bright high school students getting ready for higher education. The organization hosts scholarship panels, college webinars, and other informational sessions that student members can benefit from. And in working with students, Lewis says that he has seen greater interest in community college rather than the traditional route. This is in part due to more prominent four-year universities linking up with these smaller institutions to offer a direct transfer program if students meet certain GPA and coursework requirements.
Some states, like here in Georgia, the 2-year programs are connected to the 4-year institutions. So there's an opportunity to look at community colleges that are affiliated with part of the university system of the state. So when you're choosing a community college, you should look to see what kind of affiliations they have with the 4-year programs, and some of them are automatic. So the ability to attend a 2-year program and then be automatically admitted, like here in Georgia, to the University of Georgia or Georgia State or Georgia Tech. That's a one way of success of reducing costs, but using it as a feeder program to some great universities. And it really depends on, when you're thinking about applying to graduate school or your career, it doesn't really matter where you started college. It does matter where you graduated from college.
Spending the first 2 years after high school enrolled at a nearby community college is a smart way to avoid the many thousands in loans. The average yearly tuition for an in-district community college is a little over $3,000. Compare this to the annual cost of more than $9,000 for an in-state public 4-year university. Also, add on about $6,000 per year for living expenses if the student's living on campus. While community college is a fantastic option, it would be naive to assume that it's a good fit for everyone. There are thousands of scholarships and grants that can help cut down the cost of a 4-year university, but it's up to the student to seek these resources out.
I would recommend your listeners to make Google their best friend in the way of identifying potential scholarship opportunities, and the ability to connect an individual's passion and career interest, and then if they do that and Google it with the word scholarship, you'd be surprised on the resources that are available online. There's even a scholarship for tall people, believe it or not. So something unique as being a tall individual. If you Google tall and scholarships, you'll get a great number of scholarships offered to students who are tall, for example.
Lewis points out that even the Central Intelligence Agency offers scholarships to young academics interested in the intelligence field. Selected recipients can get up to $25,000 in tuition assistance per year. In exchange, they work for the CIA post-graduation for a fixed number of years.
They hire individuals at 18 and offer wonderful scholarships to their student staffers. So, you wouldn't think as a young high school student, what's available to me to help provide support for my education. But the Army is a great resource. The CIA is a great resource. And the opportunity to think big. Don't limit yourself.
Another route that opens doors for people set on saving money is class selection in high school. Advanced placement classes can be challenging. However, doing well on AP tests at the end of the semester can translate into valuable college credit.
I would recommend students take AP classes while they're in high school because the opportunity to take them, and if a student does well on the AP exams, if you, for instance, would get a 4 or a 5 on the test, many universities accept them as academic credit. So you can get them while you're in high school, but you're actually helping make that down payment for taking less outstanding classes in college. So I strongly encourage students to take as many AP as they can handle academically, study hard, and at least get a 4 or a 5 on their final exam. Now, they will have to look at the individual institutions to see which universities will accept which particular credits. Some universities don't accept AP exams, but a lot of them do.
At the end of the day, for both students and parents, it can be tempting to get caught up in the allure of a university without inspecting the price tag. Too often, people believe that the high cost of a 4-year public, out-of-state, or private university is worth it, and they'll easily be able to pay back the large loans after securing a well-paying job after graduation. But life isn't always so predictable. Racking up $30,000 or $40,000 in debt can put a lot of pressure on a student or their families shouldering the cost. Take some time, weigh out all of the options, and calculate the full cost of tuition, boarding, and living expenses per year before accepting any offer. To find out more about our guest, James Lewis, and the National Society of High School Scholars, visit viewpointsradio.org. This segment was written and produced by Amira Zaveri. Studio production by Jason Dickey. I'm Marty Peterson.
Viewpoints returns in just a moment.
Saving for taxes is hard for many business owners, perhaps especially independent contractors, artists, and entrepreneurs. Some business owners simply can't stop themselves from spending all the money as it comes in, then incurring more and more unsecured debt to pay their taxes and other obligations. Those businesses are sinking, even if they don't know it yet. But Help for Debtors is available now. Business Debtors Anonymous is a 12-step recovery program with meetings every day, where members support one another as they stop incurring new unsecured debt. At meetings, recovering members share how their lives have been transformed. Their stories will be reassuringly similar to your own. This 12-step program offers hope, clarity, and serenity, along with immediately usable tools to support better management of your personal and business finances. Find more information and request free program literature at helpfordebtors.org. That's helpfordebtors.org.
A new report from Mimecast shows that 79% of companies experienced a business disruption or financial loss last year due to a lack of cyber preparedness. The annual State of Email Security report by cyber resilience company Mimecast shows that a stunning 61% of companies were hit by ransomware last year, on average losing 6 working days. Even though 70% of organizations surveyed expect to be harmed by an email-borne attack this year, 40% still fall short in one or more critical areas of email security systems, according to Josh Douglas, Mimecast's Vice President of Threat Intelligence.
Companies know they're exposed, but are not committing to the technology and training required to protect their environment. These exposure points are inflamed by so many companies rapidly adopting digital office models. Leaving employees untrained and unprotected in this highly distributed digital environment puts organizations at risk of digital deception.
Download the full report and learn how companies can protect themselves at Mimecast.com.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Viewpoints is a production of MediaTrax Communications. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more about upcoming shows. And find a library of past programs on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and more information about our guests at viewpointsradio.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Viewpoints. Coming up next week.
There were 25 of their planes that went up that day. 13 got shot down. 12 came back. And the survivors that came back told horrifying stories of how many hundreds of German fighters swarming around them.
The on- and off-screen life of the late actor Jimmy Stewart. Then,
most of my diet is vegetables, tofu to some degree, but I do eat some fish. And one of the reasons I eat fish is because fish is actually a pretty good carbon deal.
Crafting a diet for a better climate. I'm Marty Peterson.
and I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.